Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is not your first time here. I know I look a little crazy right now. I do not have any foundation on. I am going to show you guys how I apply my foundation step by step, because in my normal tutorials, I kind of breeze right through it and just speed through it. So I want to give you guys some tips and tricks and just show you what I do. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Starting with application, I either use brushes such as these. These are round kabukis and flat top kabukis. The difference is the surface area. So this is flat and it's easier to really pack on the foundation, and these two are round. This one's just a little bit bigger than this one. And these brushes in order are the Sigma Flat Kabuki F80, the Morphe M439 round kabuki. This is my favorite one that I use most often if I'm using a brush. And this is the Sigma F82 round kabuki. These are very similar. This one's just softer and bigger. Now I use brushes if I'm using a more lightweight foundation. I typically use it all the way up to medium, but if I'm using more of a medium buildable to full coverage, I will use a damp beauty sponge. And this is a Real Techniques beauty sponge. These are $10.99 at Ulta for a pack of 2 of them, and that's really affordable. Beauty blenders can run about $20 each unless you get a deal on them, which is very hard to find. So these are really affordable. What I do is I run them under the sink and I get them wet. I squeeze them as the water's pouring on them about 20 times, and it expands in size a lot, and this will help you to put on your foundation, and it really just helps it go on flawlessly. It doesn't get patchy, and it picks up any excess foundation. So if you put too much on your face and you don't want cake face, this is definitely gonna help with that. Now going into prepping the skin, what I do is I always moisturize my face first and foremost. I've already done that. I do that typically right after I get out of the shower because I have very dry skin, and if I don't, it'll just feel like a raisin and just feel like all shriveled up. So I use the Clinique Moisture Surge Intense Skin Fortifying Hydrator. It comes in a tube like this. I also have the Drunk Elephant moisturizer that is not right in front of me here, but those are my 2 favorite. I really like gel-based moisturizers. That's just my personal preference though. After I have the moisturizer on just to start prepping the skin, I will then go in with my primer. This is my favorite primer. It is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizing Primer. And this is in the hydrating formula. I like the hydrating formula because it is hydrating, and I have very dry skin, as I mentioned before. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a little bit on my fingertips here. I just do about a dime-sized amount to start, and if I need more, I will just get more, but it's better to build up than to put way too much on, because too much primer on can make you look a little crazy too. So I just rub it into my skin using sweeping and then small circular motions until I feel it getting tacky, and I'll put my hands down and feel that to make sure it's getting tacky, because that is what will have the foundation to stick onto your skin. I'm just gonna grab a little bit more and put that onto my forehead. So once you have primed your skin, you're ready to go in with foundation. And I just wanted to share a little tip with you guys that I tend to use, especially in the summer when I'm self-tanning and I will be pale like I am now, and then I will get about 2 to 3 shades darker with the self-tanner. So what I will do is I will go and get cheaper foundations like the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1. I love this foundation, and I will just get 2 different shades, one that's lighter and one that's darker. When I'm on the paler side, I'll just use the lighter shade. When I'm on the darker side, I'll just use the darker shade. And when I'm in the middle, I will make a little cocktail of both of them. So that's just a little tip. You don't have to go out and get a really expensive high-end foundation for when you're pale and for when you're tan. You can go get one that you like this and just get 2 different shades of it, and you're saving money that way, and then save your high-end one in a lighter shade for the fall and winter when you're not self-tanning. That's just a little tip that I like to use. So since I am paler today, I'm not gonna be putting any of the darker shade in. I'll just be going in with the lighter shade. And what I do is I pump it. I do a pump and I do about 2 pumps on the back of my hand. So what I do is I dab that all over my face with my finger. And once it's dotted all over, I will go in with the flat side of my Real Technique sponge. The reason I really love this is because it does have this flat side, which the Beauty Blender and most damp beauty sponges don't have. And I would just start pouncing that into the skin. I always start on my jawline because I like to make sure it matches my neck, and it's easiest to make sure by doing it that way. And what I'll do is I'll drag it down my jawline, onto my neck, and up on my ear as well, just to make sure it's all blended in. And you just want to use really light pouncing motions. You don't want to just really light. Now we have our foundation on, so now it is time to conceal and highlight, and these are my new obsession in the makeup industry. They're the Tarte Double Duty Shape Tape, and in my last video I had only had the medium shade, but I was able to get my hands on the light shade finally, so I will be using them not only to conceal my under eye, but also to highlight. So I'll go in with the medium, which is the darker shade first. It has a great huge doe foot applicator, which is easy to get in the spaces you need it, and I will do 1 swipe under the eye there with the medium. Just to conceal that under eye, and then I will go in with light, and I will dot this on all the places I want to highlight. So I'm going to do 3 dots under my under eye. I do 1 little dot on my Cupid's bow, 2 little dots on my chin, 3 little dots on my forehead, and then I'll do a little line down the bridge of my nose. And then I go in with that same Beauty Blender and pounce it out as well. I start under my eyes and just make sure to get up under there really good. Now once that's blended out, I'll move to the places I want to highlight. I always start bottom to top for some reason. But again, there's no rhyme or reason to that. That's just personal preference. And then for the nose, I will squeeze this Beauty Blender like this. Pounce all the way up and back down. Okay, now we have concealed and highlighted our face, and it is time to set everything, and I will go in with my RCMA No Color Powder. What I do is I open the lid like so, and this packaging isn't the greatest, but it's $12, so who can complain? I take the pointy side of my Beauty Blender or sponge, and I just go like this. And then I take it out and you have the powder on your sponge. And with that, I will set everything. So I just pounce it, and you're gonna have this powder under your eye for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how long you want it to bake. This is gonna make sure everything stays in place all day. Nothing's moving around, shifting. I love this method. I used to use banana powder to set everything, and I do not use that anymore because this is just such a good method. Makes everything look very airbrushed and stay in place all day. There aren't any powders that, like banana powders or mineral powders that I know of that do this same thing, and I just love the way this is. So we leave it on, I leave it on for about a minute, and then I take a Morphe E50, which is just a small little brush here, and I wipe away all of the powder. So we're just gonna wait a few more seconds, and then I'll get to it. Okay, now it's been about a minute and 5 seconds or so, and I'm gonna dust that all away. It is a really fun thing to just dust it away because you see how good it looks. So for bronzing, I'm gonna use two bronzers, but I'm gonna start with my Benefit Cheekathon palette, and I'm gonna dip my MAC 135 paddle brush into Hoola bronzer. I'm just gonna kind of chisel out my cheeks with this one. Also take some of that and just go under the jawline to create a shadow and get rid of that like little double chin that everyone can have if you sit in an awkward position. I will then go in to my busted up Lorac Tantalizer bronzer. It fell and broke, but this is what it looks like. I go in with the shade Golden Glow. This is one of my all-time favorite bronzers. And I will just warm up the cheeks with this. Once that is all blended out, I will then go in with my blush. I don't necessarily have a favorite blush, but I have been using the Becca and Jaclyn Hill collab Rosé Spritz blush that comes in the face palette a lot. And I go in with the Morphe E4 brush. I love the way it's slanted to apply it. So what I'll do is I'll dip into this palette. I'll just do like 2 little dabs real quick because you don't want it to be too pigmented, and I will shake off the excess, and then I will do 1 dab into this highlighter, which is Champagne Pop. That's just gonna really give your cheeks a nice glow. And what I'll do is I'll start here and push it back, layering it with the contour just a little bit. Now for highlight. I will go in with my Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Sunlight. Let me show you the container instead of shaking it around like a lunatic. And I will start applying this to the tops of my cheeks with my finger. You see how intensely it glows. And then I will go in with my beauty sponge and squeezing it the way I showed you earlier. I will blend all that out and make it look like a really healthy glow. So once you have all your makeup on, including your lip, I use the ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip in the shade Alyssa. I really love this formula. You want to set your makeup with a setting spray to lock everything in for the day and to make sure you get as much wear out of it as you can. So I use the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray. I use this quite often, especially in the summer, because it has a cooling and hydrating method to it, and it really is like refreshing to the skin, especially like if you're out in the sun. I know I've said that before in videos, but if you're out in the sun, like keeping a mini version of this in your purse is great. But they do have different setting sprays by drugstore brands. I know NYX has a really good one. They have like dewy one, mattifying ones. So take your pick. You absolutely don't have to spring for an expensive setting spray, but this is one I am going to use today, and I douse myself in it. So thank you guys for tuning into this video. I really just wanted to show you my tips and tricks on how I apply my foundation. It kind of turned into a full face tutorial, but I just really wanted to show you the steps that I use and the tools that I use to achieve flawless foundation, and then what I do after I apply my foundation to just put my face together. And I hope that you guys got something out of this video and can use it in your daily routine. Please comment down below on what you'd like to see next. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you in my next video.